Hello gang, my name's Phil Aegis with Freeman Manufacturing. We are going to give you a little demo of the DC-300 today. So this machine is set up to originate keys or cut by code, and it can also duplicate keys. So if you have a code number for a RV lock, you can originate that key with a blank and a couple of components that we have included with the machine. You can also duplicate a key. So just kind of going over the machine, this is the guide. So anytime we're tracing a key, we would put the pattern key in this vise, in the right vise, and our blank would go in the left vise. Both vices on the machine are reversible, so if you loosen them up, there's a very wide side here, which is what we're going to use 99% of the time with RV keys. We can flip that vise around, and it's a narrower side for single-sided keys. So most RVs don't use single-sided keys unless you go way back, so most of our work is going to be, again, done on the wide side of the vise. So when we rotate those, we want to make sure that they snap back in, and we are ready to go. So a couple of components that come with the machine set up for RVs. So this is a number 300 depth cam. So if you look at that, there's different sides. There's a B section, a C section, and an A section. So depending on what we're cutting, whether it's a global link or an FIC or a Bauer, we'll use different parts of this cam to originate a key. One thing about the depth cam, anytime we're duplicating, we would put the depth cam on a number 1 position. So the depth cam is pretty simple. It just drops in. We slide it back over here, push this button in, and then it snaps into place. So now it'll rotate around. But again, if we're duplicating, it doesn't matter which section of this cam we use, as long as it's on a number 1 position. So we just line the number 1 up right there with that line. So again, C1, A1, it doesn't matter. As long as, again, when we're duplicating, we're just going to make sure it's on a number 1 position. The other component we're going to need if we're going to originate a key is going to be a space key. So this is a number 825 space key. This is for FIC and Global Link. And if you look at that key, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the blade there, and this positions our cuts laterally left to right. So this is the first cut, second cut, third cut, fourth cut, fifth cut. Space keys always go in the right side vise, and they always go to the tip. So the vise has got a built-in tip stop, so we would just push that in like that and tighten the key down. So if we're going to originate a key or make a first key, these are the two components that we're going to work between, and we'll get into that procedure a little bit later. If we're going to just duplicate a key, we would again keep that cam on a number 1 position, put our pattern key in this vise, and then put our blank key in the left vise. We will go over a few more things here, and we'll get ready to cut a key. Okay, so this is our G-Code online program, and with purchase of the machine, you get access to this for 1 year. It normally runs $99.95 per year to look up all your different key codes. The lock example we're going to use today is a Global Link G361, so we punched in that key code into the program. We know it's a Global Link RV lock. A lot of information here that you really don't need. This tells you some of the dimensions on the key and things like that. But the important part that we're worried about are the cuts, which are 2, 2, 3, 3, 1 on the key. If you're new to key cutting, number 1 depth is the shallowest. And for Global Link, a number 4 depth is the deepest. So this particular key has cuts of 2, 2, 3, 3, 1. So we're going to make 2 cuts in a row, 2 3 cuts in a row, and the last cut will be a 1. And these are read from the bow of the key to the tip, or the head of the key to the tip. So that's how we're going to originate our key when we put all of our components in the machine. So this will be our example. If you look on the program, you'll also see a DC-300 cam and a space key section. So the DC-300 cam that we want to use for this particular key is a number 300C. and the space key is going to be the 825 space key. So again, we're going to use the C section of the cam to make our key and a number 825 space key. So let's put all those components in the machine and show you how to originate a key. And again, what we want to make sure when we're putting the key in, don't just hold it by the head of the key here. We want to put our finger on top of that so we make sure that we get it in nice and square at the bottom. And again, space key is just going to come right over here and hit this stop. So we're going to slide it in like that and tighten the vise up. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to use the C section of the number 300 cam. So if we look right now, we're in the A section. So I'm just going to rotate this till I get to the C section. So here's my 1, 2, 3, and 4 cuts. And to make each one, we would just line up the different depth with the particular number. So again, depths are up here, how deep we're going to cut into the key, and the spaces are controlled by the space key. That gives us our left to right position. So we will insert a blank, same way, put this in nice and flat. And this is a shoulder stop key, so we're just going to run it right up until we hit that shoulder. But again, we don't want to put the key in like this with our fingers like this, because we're going to wind up with the blade not being flat in the vise. So I usually put my finger on top of the blade, slide it in like that, and then tighten it down. All right, so key cutting, we are going to turn the machine on. And our first depth, as we mentioned earlier, our cuts on this key are 2, 2, 3, 3, 1. So I'm going to turn this to a number 2 position. And just line that pointer up with the number 2. And I'm going to put my guide into the first position on the key. And then I'm just going to push forward. So there's our first number 2 cut made. And I'm going to move over to my second position. And again, we're just pushing forward till we come to a stop. And our next cut is a 3. And that's in our third position. And I'm just pushing forward with a nice smooth motion until I come to a stop. The number 1 cuts you rarely have to make. Most number 1 cuts don't even touch the key, so I will show you here how to do that, but we don't really even have to worry about it in most cases. You didn't hear any material being moved again. The number 1 cut is usually the full width of the blank. So we've made our first side of the key. Now we're just going to rotate it, load it back up the same way, and go back to our 2 cut in the first couple positions. Again, second cut, and we've got 2 3 cuts in a row, third cut, fourth cut, and again our last number 1 cut we don't need to make. Take your key out of the machine, and while it's still on here, we can use the brush on the side just to get rid of any burrs and turn it off. So if we've done everything right, should have a nice working key. Okay, so now if we want to use the machine to duplicate a key, what we're going to do, again, we go back to our cam and we turn this to any number 1 position. And so we're lined up on 1 right there. We're good. And we're going to put in our original key. In this case, it's a global link, same as the key that we just cut. So we're going to slide that in like that. Again, we want to make sure that the key is nice and straight in here and that it's not sitting at an angle this way or this way. It is possible after you cut the first side, if this key had all deep cuts on it, that if you just push your finger down on the end, that the key could go in a little bit like this. So always make sure, manually look at the visually look at the face of the vise and the edge of the key blank when you put it in, and make sure that it's nice and straight. So we should be good to go here. And we're going to slide the blank in over here and cut our first side. And we're just going to use basically the same procedure that we just did to originate a key. Turn the machine on, and we're going to find that first cut and push it forward. Second cut, third cut, and the fourth cut. And again, that number 1 depth really doesn't have any really nothing to it. So once we've done that, we'll turn the machine off, flip the key around, and Do the exact same thing on the other side. Turn the machine off, remove our key, give it a little burr. And then we should be able to. Nice working key. And that's really all there is to the machine. You're either going to be duplicating or originating a key in conjunction with the code software. I should be able to originate pretty much any RV key that's in use today. The basic package that we sell with the RV kit covers the double-sided Bowers, the popular Trimarks, Global Link, and FIC. So you should be off to a good start. As new series are introduced, we'll have additional components for the machine that allows you to stay current and cut the newer keys.